Hello and welcome back to New World. We just got a ton of brand new information about NBA 2K25 from a gameplay deep dive, and we also got a courtside report from NBA 2K, really honing in and adding the extra details when it comes to NBA 2K25. Now the game does look amazing, I would say. It looks nice. It looks like they did focus on a lot of things, from new animations to character models. I see like a really good lighting changes as well. Just adding extra details and authenticity to players individually. So we're going to break all that down in this video. If you like the content I put out, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and go ahead and like the video if you feel like you like the vibe going on over here. But anywho, let's go ahead and break down NBA 2K25. So first off, when the gameplay trailer opens up, we get to see the atmosphere, how good that NBA 2K does when it comes to really giving you realism when it comes to the stadiums, and each presentation does seem like it looks like it has that real life NBA experience. This has been done in previous 2K, so I'm glad to see that, just the atmosphere and the vibe is a priority. Seems like a lot of times we have problems with fans back in the games where it used to be kind of like lackluster, and just based off of just like the presentation alone, it looks really good. Now it does start off with giving us basically like the top 10, top 15 NBA players in the league right now, from Jason Tatum, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Brunson, Kyrie Irving, just a ton of great NBA players, and the character models look amazing. Now I do see that they're still using Giannis from previous 2Ks, I think since like 2K19. So he didn't get an updated face scan, but it does look like Giannis. So we also get to see Paul George in his Philadelphia uniform. So all the rosters are updated, of course, like every other new NBA 2K. But it starts off with a big, bold statement. 9,000 brand new animations. Now there are going to be tons and tons of animations, from dribble moves, from shooting, from signature styles, from just set shots, from going inside the dribbles and pulling up and shooting. That's also another fluid motion animation. So they're really doubling down on that pro play feature that they added last year, which is something that I actually am pretty excited about. 2K does a really good job with adding player authenticity, and it's good to see that they're adding more and more and more animations to make sure that players actually move and are really like how they are in real life. They're saying that they have brand new dribbling mechanics, so every year they say they have brand new dribbling mechanics, but it looks like they're actually honing in with 9,000 brand new dribble animations. It does make me think that they kind of revamped the entire dribble system by adding in all those new animations. So just from a normal tween to a cross is probably more authentic than it used to be, than the generic tween across that you get from, say, NBA players. Now this probably individual NBA player has his own tween cross signature, or tween cross to a pull-up. Everybody has their own authentic kind of signature style, and I think that's pretty cool. Now it does add like multiple new things, like feet placement, and how feet placement is a lot more realistic, and actually brand new shooting mechanics as well. Now I did see in the courtside report breakdown that they do have a different shot meter, and we also do have a brand new scoreboard, which is really cool. The shot meter looks very minimalistic. It looks nice. The scoreboard is kind of stretched out at the bottom like a lot of modders do when it comes to 2K on PC, where we do add that like ESPN like scoreboard, and I'm glad that they also did add that and update that as well. Now one thing I do want to make people take into account is the fact that there are actual better hair physics. The hair physics do seem like a lot more loose. In the courtside report, I did see like Drew Holiday's dreads move a lot more, and we see that Jaylen Brown's braids do also move a lot as well. So they're really honing in and locking in on the extra realism factor when it comes to just players' hair is moving, rubber bands moving as well. We also get into a shot where Stephen Curry is doing like a tween behind the back, just throw up layup, which I think is pretty cool. So it does have signature shot animations. They're adding brand new shooting mechanics. They're adding brand new feet placements. They're adding brand new shot meters and things of that nature. So it looks like they're changing NBA 2K25 into a completely different experience than NBA 2K24. One thing I want to talk about though, it's the graphics of the game, and I'm a huge graphics guy, especially bringing it to PC. I was scared. I was assuming that they were going to water it down, but a lot of people say, oh, the graphics in 2K, they're just adding sweat, or the lighting doesn't look right. In my personal opinion, judging based off this wide shot right here, I honestly do think it looks as real as it possibly can. Now, the wide shot, the wide angle, the way that the game actually looks, I think that this really is very, very close to real life. It's no more too much ambient occlusion where the players look super dark for no reason, or the or the screen space reflections on the floor and the ground, like it's a lot more lit up on the floor, so it does seem a lot more dynamic. We see it on like the bottom of the feet of the players in the game, and like we see the key signs at the bottom. It looks like the floors actually have a little bit more lighting, and that's something that I'm glad that they did add, because the more that you add when it comes to this, in the atmosphere in the game, the better you get. Look at college football 25. They added small little things to make sure that the atmosphere felt as realistic as possible, and that's why everybody enjoys that game. So I hope 2K does take this approach. Now, they do implement this new pro stick mechanic, and I believe that's just being able to shoot off of your pro stick. So let's say you're dribbling and you use that and you hold it up. Usually when you do that, it does an animation where it kind of crosses and pulls back or shoots, or you just shoot straight up. But it looks like now you have like a little bit more dynamic animations. So when we see with Jamal Murray, his step back is super realistic, how he actually does it in game. Super far back, easy pull up. That way, now we get to see these characters' real life movements in the game a little bit more, a little bit easier to access. When you're dribbling with Jamal Murray and then you got to press X to step back and, you know, tap it and shoot, it's not really Jamal Murray's. It's like a modified version, but it looks like they're adding the exact animation from Jamal Murray in the game, the exact animation from Tyrese Halliburton, from Stephen Curry, from all these players in the game that have drastic step backs or set dribbles like KD, where he does his set dribble to a pull up. Now it's a lot more easier access with the flick up of your right stick that I seen in the courtside report. And right when the shot goes in, I also want people to recognize that the physics in the shot, like it looks like the basket looks a lot different. It looks like the basket has a lot more weight to it, like the net. It looks good. I think the physics factor, I think like even the jerseys moving, I think they really honed in on the physics this year, because I do see a difference. That's just something I just wanted to add. Now, one thing I did want to call out also is LeBron James. Now, we only got 2 shots of LeBron James, and it's behind his head, which makes me think they still have the exact same face scan for LeBron going into this year. Now, LeBron James has had the same face scan since I believe 2K19, 20-ish. So he's had the same face scan for almost 5 years. LeBron is getting older. He has a lot more grays. We gotta start changing how LeBron James looks now. But the Bronny James looks super realistic. It goes to show that their technology has changed, but certain players have not been updated, which does kind of irritate me a little bit, because at least you guys could tweak it. There are modders in the 2K PC community that do have updated face scans for players without even having nearly as many tools as you guys do. But anywho, we get into the brand new defensive system, and I've said this more than once when I'm talking to friends, just on the game in general. You have a skill gap, not with shooting, but with defense. Once NBA players are able, or once 2K players are able to stick with the speed boosting and stick with the things, that's when the game becomes balanced enough to give you a skill gap, to where when you're actually playing in real life, you're either a good defender or a terrible one. 2K should not just have everybody default with being a basic defender. No. There needs to be a difference between great defense and not just spamming the X. I'm actually having weight, actually having physics, actually having things. And they did say that in the courtside report. They did mention that players that have more weight, players that have more height do have more of an advantage this year, because it is more realistic. Like Wemby, from the defense he's playing on Giannis right now, and then the swipe down at the ball, that I feel like it's a brand new animation that we haven't seen before, that I haven't seen. And I think it's really cool that they've added this in the game, because it is desperately needed. More defensive animations, more defensive stops, more defensive sets does set the game apart from all the other previous 2Ks, because once you make the dribbling fun, once you make the defense a lot more responsive, and you make the shooting just as intuitive and as easy across all boards, you get a great game. Nobody can complain. Defense isn't nerfed, offense isn't nerfed. You get 2 super fun, super balanced things that make people actually excited to play defense and not scared or to default to a lockdown to just spam from the beginning. If you put in enough attributes to your character to be a great defender, hopefully that is a big emphasis in the game. But that has been super missed out on in a lot of 2Ks, and I think that defense plays a huge factor. Now they get into the shooting, and the shooting, like I said, there's something called rhythm shooting now. You have more animations when it comes to shooting out of your set. We see animations from Jason Tatum, from Klay Thompson. Those look extremely realistic. I love it. I love it. More realism. 9,000 brand new animations does mean brand new movements for players to feel a lot more authentic, especially with dribbling and shooting. That's something that I'm glad that they really focused on, because it's a difference between just shooting and off dribble shooting. Like James Harden, that's why everybody used James Harden, because he had his authentic step back to a shot that everybody liked and enjoyed. And I'm glad that there are a lot of NBA players that use that now, their own step back to shot. So I'm glad that they added that from Jason Tatum's side step. And it looks like it creates space and it's not just stagnant. So I'm glad that they've added that in the game. They end off the gameplay trailer just with you being able to play like, shoot like, move like, defend like other NBA players, really honing into those 9,000 brand new animations, really honing into that pro play feature that they said that they've, are working on and revamping. And I'm glad that they've done this. This is actually a good step when it comes to just play now, my league, play now online, realism. That's the good start. My Park and all of that is a different situation, because players usually just default to the regular, whatever is cheesiest, whatever is the best. But if they change the defensive system and they change the dribbling system and made it a lot more realistic, I do think that those things can benefit players in the future, because at the end of the day, now we get a good defender and a good dribbler. Now we get things that are balanced. Now we can do actual switches and not just have to default with just spamming X that dribblers are annoyed with. Now we have a real defensive system, and I really do hope that it's as big and it's as hyped up and it's as innovative as they are portraying in the game. Is it enough to pre-order? I do not know. 9,000 new animations is something that's huge, and I do think that that does add a lot of variety to each individual player and adds different outcomes and make the game just feel a lot more realistic. College Football 25 did it the best, the absolute best. When it comes to realism and when it comes to actually adapting to players' likeness, college football did an amazing job with it this year. Just the atmosphere and just like the overall feeling. So I hope 2K took notes and understood that player individuality when it comes to likeness, the atmosphere of the crowd, the details of the court, everything matters. That's what makes a sports simulation game greater than all the other ones, is your attention to detail, and makes it a lot more harder for people to compete with you, because there are going to be an emergence of new NBA games, hopefully in the future, from NBA Live, NBA Street, whatever EA decides to do. 2K wants to pretty much stop all of that from happening ahead of time. So adding thousands and thousands of new animations and more accurate player likeness and things of that nature is only going to make 2K a very hard company to beat. Now, is this something that I want to pre-order now? I would say, based off of the trailer and based off of the gameplay breakdown, it eases the mind just a little bit, but we still have more conversations like microtransactions. We still have to talk about the city experience. Is it changed? Is it something that people actually care about? What is in the city? Do we have to run around everywhere? And it's not strictly about basketball, and it's more so just about just wasting time. What is going to be added in this game? Because at the end of the day, people attention spans are going to be out of the door with all that walking around the city and stuff like that. It's not really a fun experience, especially with the games that are coming out this year. It's just not as fun just wasting majority of your time spending bills on 2K and then having to run around an entire city just to go play basketball. And you can't unlock this unless you do this mission. It's just too much. We just want a good basketball game. So I say wait until August 5th for that information, and hopefully that persuades a lot of people. I like how the game looks graphically. I am going to buy it solely because I am fully with the PC community now, and I really want it next gen on PC. So even if Park is terrible, hopefully my NBA and Play Now is something to look forward to. New World out.